your personal achievements working with Charles that have came from Life Insurance Pros.
I've reached a level in our industry that a lot of people probably never reach. I can look at, I know MDRT measures that number, and I was able to do that, working that kind of process. I've made some management decisions that have led to leading an office to a #1 sales spot in North America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, dear life insurance agent and financial advisor at home listening to this, I'm with a very special agent, top producer, Monty. Good day, sir. How are you?
Good day, Jamie. Welcome to America.
I love it. All right, so pretty much what I want to do is get the perspective of another agent who's worked the processes, the sales processes, the lead generation processes that have came from Life Insurance Pros. So pretty much I want to start off, Monty, if you can talk a little bit to the people of your personal achievements working with Charles and some of the biggest lessons that you've learned working with him.
You know, I feel like there's always ways to improve what I've done, but I've reached a level in our industry that a lot of people probably never reach. You know, $1 Million Roundtable is an organization that I joined probably 20 plus years ago, and I've got to the top level on that or at that organization, and I've got a lifetime status with the second to the highest level there. I wish I had the highest level, but I've done some pretty excellent things working with Charles over the years, and I've learned a lot in doing so, and I'm very happy with what I've achieved. I've made some management decisions that have led to leading an office to a #1 sales spot in North America. So we've, out of 55 offices, Little Boise, Idaho has achieved a #1 sales goals for 3 years in a row back in the early 2000s. So we've done some various things, but I think, you know, what I'm most proud of is learning the whole time we've been working together. Charles, I would say meeting him in 2001, the summer of 2001, I liked him very much initially. You know, he's great personality, but you know, there are a lot of people with great personalities. What I thought was really unique about Charles is that I quickly learned that there was a lot more than personality. And I would probably encapsulate all that by saying the process. When you work with Charles over the years, it's learning that process is very important. It's process over personality. I would break it down into 5 different areas. Process, planning. We always, you know, we never go into a meeting, or I never go into a meeting without proper planning. You know, you can show up and be unprepared, and you're really disrespecting the client's time. The other thing that's very important to learn is there's a way in our industry, which is a complicated industry. It's you know, somebody, you know, has a life insurance policy that they bought 30 years ago. They don't read the statements usually. They see them, they don't really understand them, but we have a way of simplifying that process. So simplification is very important, and that's one thing that I learned working with Charles over the years. If you don't have a way to simplify something, it's really hard to connect with that, you know, that client.
No, that was super good. What would you say when you said the word process? Because I know that comes out a lot from Charles too, and that's something we preach a lot in our company as well. Everything has a specific process. Mm-hmm. What about that process you think made you enter the $1 Million Roundtable and then get to the top of the table? What about those processes a little bit more specifically?
You know, part of the process is initial preparation, knowing that you're going to go see client X, and you know, client X has got a history with us, or maybe they don't have a history. Maybe they're a referral. So we find out as much information as we can find on that person prior to. We ask them to send us some information about their current coverages, or we maybe we've already met them and we have notes, and we update those notes, and you know, we're prepared to review what their current financial statements are showing, and that's probably the basis for it, is knowing ahead of time where they're at, and then maybe forming some possible solutions. We don't really know until we meet with them, till we hear it from them. What are you looking for? You know, we want to find out what they're looking for, because we've already looked at several different scenarios that we would probably recommend just by looking at them from face value. But sometimes you might run into a client whose their lifestyle has changed. Maybe they had a family change, they've divorced, maybe they got married, maybe they had a family member pass away. So we have to be prepared for the unexpected. And so without preparing, we're not going to be able to handle those situations very well. And if we go into a meeting thinking we've got maybe at most an hour to an hour and a half to make some very important financial decisions in somebody's life, we're going to have to know a lot ahead of time, because coming back and forth 2 or 3 times, that's not going to work very well. We have to have an idea when we come in there and be prepared to act on it or get to the next level.
Pretty much what I'm hearing is that you kind of have one shot to do it right every time.
We do. You've got one chance to make a good impression. You've probably heard that one before,
Yeah.
and we use that every time.
Yeah, no, that's neat. So I want to end this on that, Monty. There's people listening to us on the fence of either wanting to book a call or they're about to get on a call with us and debating whether they want to work with myself on the marketing side, working on with Charles on the sales and product side, and they're going to get obviously some visits from you and talk to you as well as one of our coaches inside the Life Insurance Pros. But what would you say to that agent that's on the fence right now, either to book an appointment or to come on that call and working with us? What would you tell those individuals right now listening?
I would tell those individuals they probably have a process that works pretty well, but they also have a desire to improve their process. And one thing that I've known from Charles over the years is that he's always improving his process. If he feels like, or if I feel like our process isn't working, we try to change it. We try to tweak it. So if you're looking at tweaking your process, you're another agent, you're trying to get to that next level, maybe take a look at somebody else and how they're doing it. I know that Charles isn't finished tweaking his process. Yeah. Next month there might be a different part of the process that's going to change. But I know when I go into an appointment without Charles, I can pretty much deliver the entire process myself. I've learned that over many times seeing him, by being prepared, just doing all the things that we do ahead of time, to know that I can pretty much replicate what happens in the meeting. I know it doesn't feel like it, but the words just come out. The process, the way I'm thinking about preparing, the way I approach the front door, the way I greet the people, the way I review their statements, the way I talk about getting referrals, just all the things that go into the whole process of packing as much as you can into that 1 hour. I think learning the process that Charles has, you can do something like Charles too.
What was that worth to you, learning all that?
It's hard to put a number on that, but getting to top of the table with MDRT, that is something that I can look at. I know MDRT measures that number, and I was able to do that, working that kind of process.
Well, thank you so much, Monty.
Yeah,
appreciate
sure.
that. If you're listening to this at home, you're either a brand new agent that joined the life insurance industry or the financial service industry, or you've been in the business 2-3 years trying to figure it out, or even if you're a veteran, you've been in the business 20-30 years, potentially you're at the $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 mark, and you're trying to break through and scale to break past through $50,000 to $100,000 a month, then go ahead and book that call. And if you've already booked that call, then either me or a member of our team, we look forward to speaking with you. Monty, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jamie.